I think you should sleep on the couch tonight. That's what she said. No fight. No reason. No warning. She was folding laundry in our bedroom, the same way she always did, half watching a crime documentary, rolling my t-shirts too tightly. I asked if I snored too much or kicked her in my sleep. She didn't even look up. It's not that, she said. I just need space. So I grabbed a pillow and walked out. The couch is brown leather. Old. Sinks in the middle. I lay there stiff, staring at the ceiling fan making shadows on the wall. In the kitchen, I heard the click of her wine glass being set down, the creak of the hallway floorboards. The door to our bedroom closed. Locked. We'd been married 9 years. And until that week, I would have bet my life that she loved me. She used to leave notes in my lunchbox, little sketches of us as stick figures holding hands. Used to sing while she made breakfast. Used to wear my hoodies when she got cold at night. Now, her hoodies were all folded in perfect rectangles, untouched. Now, she had stopped singing. That night I barely slept. At 2:17 a.m., I heard something. A thud. A pause. Like someone dropped their keys. Then silence. I sat up, half expecting her to come check on me, or maybe ask if I was okay. Nothing. At 6:41 a.m., she walked into the kitchen like nothing happened. Hair brushed. No circles under her eyes. She poured herself coffee, smiled faintly, and said, "You okay?" I nodded. Watched the steam rise from her mug. Watched her lips as she sipped from it like we were still a team. She didn't ask why I looked tired. She didn't mention the noise. She didn't even say thanks. When she left for work, I stood by the window and waited. She pulled out of the driveway. 2 minutes later, a black Honda pulled in. A man stepped out. Mid-30s. Tall. Confident. He walked straight to our front door. He didn't knock. He had a key. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. I stood behind the curtain, half hidden, watching this stranger unlock my front door like he lived there. He didn't hesitate. Didn't even glance around. Just slipped inside with a calm, practiced hand. The door clicked shut behind him. I waited, 10 seconds, 20, a minute. Nothing. No noise. No footsteps. The house stayed still, like it had swallowed him whole. I walked back to the couch and sat. My mind raced, but my body wouldn't follow. I felt like I'd been unplugged. Disconnected. I didn't want to believe what I already knew. Instead, I stared at the wedding photo on the shelf across the room. Her smile in it looked real. She was leaning into me, hand resting on my chest. It didn't look fake back then. But maybe I just didn't know what fake looked like. Around noon, the door opened again. He left, alone. Same confidence, same silent ease. He didn't see me through the window. Didn't look back once. I waited for her to come home. Didn't eat. Didn't check my phone. I just sat on the couch like a guest in my own home. When she walked in, she smiled. "Hey," she said like I was a pet. Then, "Rough day?" Like she hadn't given my bed to someone else. I stared at her. Something in my eyes must have shifted, because her smile tightened. "What?" she asked, walking to the fridge. "You gave him a key," I said quietly. She froze, hand on the fridge door. For one heartbeat, she didn't move. Then she laughed. Short. Flat. "What are you talking about? I saw him come in." She didn't look at me. Just pulled out a bottle of juice and poured herself a glass. Calm. Controlled. Rehearsed. "There's no one, babe," she said. "You're being paranoid." That word hit like ice. I didn't respond. I watched her drink. She took slow sips, as if dragging out the silence made her more convincing. Then she looked right at me. "If you're feeling insecure, maybe talk to someone. Don't accuse me of insane things." I nodded slowly. And that night, I slept on the couch again. Only this time, I didn't sleep. I listened. And when I heard the floor creak at 3:02 a.m., I knew he was back. There it was again. The floorboard by the bedroom. It always groaned when someone stepped too close to the wall, right near where the dresser sat. She used to complain about it, said it scared her during storms. Now, she didn't seem scared at all. I stared at the ceiling, muscles locked, heart punching inside my chest. The leather under my back moaned softly every time I shifted. So I stayed still. Listened. A whisper. Two voices. Hers and his. Not words, just tones. Low. Familiar. I felt something die in me right then. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even heartbreak. It was the sudden realization that I was alone in that house, even when she was next to me. In the morning, she acted like nothing happened. Again. She asked if I could pick up groceries. Left a note with a smiley face and a list: almond milk, bananas, granola. She didn't ask how I slept. I went to the store. I walked the aisles like a machine, grabbing what she wanted. But halfway through the produce section I paused. I remembered something. Back in the first year of our marriage, I got the wrong type of granola once. Wrong brand, too sweet. She kissed me anyway. Said it was cute that I tried. Now she didn't kiss me at all. When I got home, she was gone. But something was different. The bedroom door was ajar. I walked past it slowly. The bedsheets were new. Crisp white. Fresh creases. Our old navy set was gone. And the pillows, hers and mine, were both fluffed, perfectly aligned. But there was one problem. I hadn't been allowed to sleep there in 3 days. I stepped into the room, scanned every inch. The windows were open. The curtains moved gently with the breeze. There was a smell, cologne. One I didn't wear. Expensive. Woody. Lingering. I didn't touch anything. I backed out, closed the door, and sat back down on the couch. I knew then I needed proof. Because if I confronted her now, she'd gaslight me again. She'd call me paranoid. Unstable. Controlling. And I couldn't afford to be the crazy one if this turned into a war. I opened my laptop. Typed in, hidden camera, discreet, overnight shipping. Then I looked around the living room. It wasn't my home anymore. It was a crime scene waiting for evidence. The camera arrived in a plain brown box. No markings, no logos. Inside, a black charger-looking device with a lens the size of a pencil tip. I held it in my hand for a long time. It felt heavier than it should have. Not in weight, something else. Like pressing the button meant crossing a line I couldn't uncross. That night she said she was too tired to talk. Went straight to the bedroom, door closed behind her. I plugged the camera in near the bookshelf, facing the hallway. Angle wide enough to catch the bedroom door, the front door, and the edge of the couch. Then I lay down again. The couch had started to feel like a cage. I stared at the ceiling for hours. Listened for the creaks, the clicks, the murmurs. He didn't show up that night. Or maybe he did, and they were quiet. At 5:06 a.m., I finally slept. She woke me up at 7:40, all cheerful. Said we should go to brunch. Her voice was lighter than it had been in weeks. I said I wasn't feeling well. She left without a word. While she was gone, I downloaded the footage. 7 hours compressed into a few minutes. I fast-forwarded through long stretches of nothing. Then paused. At 2:59 a.m., the hallway light clicked on. A tall figure stepped in from the left, barefoot. Shirtless. He walked to the bedroom, opened the door, and slipped in. I stared at the screen. The timestamp blinked, 3:01 a.m. Then, 15 minutes later, the bedroom door opened again. He walked out. Went into the kitchen. Poured himself a glass of water. Moved like he belonged. Then he paused. He turned his head and looked directly toward the camera. Not at it, just toward it. Like he sensed something. Then he walked out of frame. The front door didn't open. He didn't leave. Which meant, he was still in the house when I woke up. When she returned from brunch, she brought me coffee. Said she missed this version of me, calmer, quieter. said I looked peaceful lately. I thanked her. Smiled. She kissed my cheek. Her lips were warm. But all I could think about was his breath still in the hallway that morning. She started dressing up on Sundays. Not Fridays. Not for date nights. But Sundays, after brunch, after pretending to nap on the couch, after kissing my cheek like nothing was broken. That afternoon, she walked out of the bedroom in a pale blue dress. Hair curled. Heels on. Lipstick darker than usual. I looked up from my phone. "Where are you going?" She didn't even hesitate. "Book club." I stared at her. We both knew she hadn't touched a book in over a year. "Since when?" She smiled, picking up her keys. "Since now. I need some me time." Then she left. 15 minutes later, the black Honda pulled up again. I didn't hide this time. I stood by the window, blinds tilted just enough. Same guy. Same smirk. Same casual walk. He looked at his phone before walking up the steps. Like he was checking to make sure I wasn't supposed to be home. He didn't see me. He knocked once, then opened the door. This time, I heard it, the sound of the lock sliding shut behind him. I waited a full 5 minutes. Then walked out the back door. Circled around. Quiet. Careful. I already knew what I'd find. But still, I needed to see. Our bedroom curtains were drawn, but the light inside glowed faint orange. His silhouette passed by the window. Then hers. Two shadows, moving close. Intertwined. I didn't flinch. I filmed it. No faces, just shapes. Proof. Enough for me. I walked back around and re-entered the house through the back, stepping quietly. The hallway smelled like her perfume and something else. Sweat, maybe. Cologne. Their door was still shut. I sat back on the couch. Opened my notes app. Wrote. Sunday. 2:13 p.m. He entered again. No words. Locked door. Two shadows. 3 minutes. No guilt. When she came out later, she looked radiant. Glowing skin. Hair tousled. She tossed her heels near the door, said, "Book club was great." I didn't respond. Didn't accuse. Didn't blink. I asked if she wanted dinner. She said, "You're sweet," and smiled. That night, while she slept in our bed, I stayed awake rewatching the footage. The way his shadow moved in our bedroom. The way she tilted her head back in laughter. And I thought, they don't even know they're already buried. Monday morning, she left for work early. Said there was a meeting downtown. Wore a blazer I hadn't seen in months. Perfume a little too strong for the office. I waited 10 minutes. Then went into our bedroom. There was a second toothbrush in the holder. Not a travel one. A full-size electric, black with a worn grip. It hadn't been there last week. I took a photo. Then scanned the rest of the bathroom. His razor sat behind hers on the shelf. His shaving foam tucked behind the towels. She didn't hide anything. Because she didn't think I'd look. Because she didn't think I mattered anymore. In the closet, I noticed hangers missing. 3 on her side, shifted slightly. A hoodie that used to be mine, now stretched out and smelling like that same cologne. The camera footage confirmed what I suspected. He stayed the night. Not just Sunday. He had been sleeping in my bed while I was 10 feet away. Every morning, he left before sunrise. She walked him out quietly, like it was routine. I backed up the recordings, time-stamped everything, saved the files to an encrypted drive. Then I made a call. My friend Marcus was a divorce attorney. Quiet. Precise. We hadn't spoken in years, but I knew he'd remember me. We went to college together. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey man," I said. "I need to talk. Not as friends. As a client." There was a pause. Then his tone shifted. "When?" "Soon. I'm building something first. I need it clean." We agreed to meet at a coffee shop across town the following Friday. I hung up. Looked around the bedroom one last time. The bed was made. Perfectly. She used to mess up the sheets every morning. Said she liked how it looked. Lived in. Now it looked like a hotel room. Sanitized. Generic. That night she suggested we have a talk. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, legs crossed, wine glass in hand. I've been thinking, she said, about space. About how we've been distant. I let her speak. She said things like, we've grown apart. And, maybe we're better as friends. She used the word amicable. I nodded slowly. Watched the condensation slide down her glass. She thought she was in control. Thought she was gently pushing me out so she could move him in. I said, if that's what you feel, I won't stop you. Her eyes lit up, just a flicker. Relief, maybe. But inside, I was already designing the trap. And she had no idea she'd walked right into it. By Wednesday, I didn't even need to check the footage. The pattern was locked in. She'd leave early. He'd come midday. They'd eat. Shower. Use my towels. Then vanish before I returned from errands. I didn't actually run. I stopped sleeping entirely. Lying on that couch in the dark, I started noticing things I hadn't before. How the fridge motor kicked on at 2:14 a.m. How the hallway light flickered once when someone walked past. How her laughter changed when she texted him. It wasn't loud. It wasn't joyful. It was sharp. Private. A type of laugh I hadn't heard in years, reserved for someone who wasn't me. One night, I left a small pile of rice behind the front door. It's an old trick. Step through it, and you'll scatter the grains. When I checked in the morning, the rice was gone. Spread in a half-moon pattern. He hadn't even noticed. Another day, I moved one of her earrings from the bathroom to the kitchen drawer. She found it. Laughed nervously. I must be losing my mind, she said. I smiled. Happens to the best of us. On Thursday, I installed the second camera. This one in the bedroom clock. High angle. Full view. She had no idea. That night I watched them. He didn't just visit. He stayed. All night. Slept on my pillow. His arm across her waist like they'd been doing it for years. She curled into him. In the morning, she handed him a to-go mug and kissed his cheek. My mug. My kitchen. I sat watching in real time from my laptop in the garage. Didn't cry. Didn't shake. Didn't look away. Just took notes. Names. Times. Phrases. She called him baby. The same way she used to call me. She never looked over her shoulder. Never once acted afraid she'd be caught. Because in her mind, I was already gone. Maybe I was. Maybe the man on the couch had already died weeks ago. But something new was forming in his place. And soon, he'd be the one knocking on the bedroom door. Friday morning, she left early again. Wore jeans, sneakers, a casual jacket, like she was headed for errands. Said, "Don't wait up, I might stop by Jenna's." Kissed me on the forehead like I was a child. By 9:06 a.m., the black Honda slid into the driveway. He walked in like he owned the place. Dropped his gym bag at the foot of the bed. Took his shirt off before the door even closed. I watched it all from my laptop in the garage, earphones in, hand steady on the mouse. The bedroom camera caught everything. They talked. She laughed, that laugh. Said she liked it better now that he stopped being nosy. They lay on our bed, half naked, scrolling through their phones like two roommates between rounds. I didn't flinch. Instead, I downloaded the file. Made 3 backups. Renamed it proof_raw_10_38am.mov. That afternoon, I met Marcus at a quiet cafe near the courthouse. He looked older than I remembered, gray at the temples, but the same sharp stare. I handed him a drive. Didn't say what was on it. Didn't need to. He plugged it into his laptop, watched in silence for about 40 seconds, then closed the lid. "Jesus," he muttered. Then louder. "You've got enough for an ambush." This is beyond no fault. I want to keep it quiet, I said. No shouting. No police. Just clean. Marcus nodded. We'll file Monday morning. Pre-discovery. You'll need to prep your finances, though. You have any joint assets? Our house. One account. But everything else is in my name. Perfect. He slid a folder across the table. Inside, a checklist. Bank moves. Document gathering. A cease and desist draft for property trespass, ready to serve if the guy showed up again. I felt the first flicker of peace I'd had in weeks. When I got home, she was lighting candles in the living room. Had jazz playing. 2 wine glasses out. Let's just have a night in, she said. I miss how it used to be. She touched my hand. I looked at her face. At the softness she wore like a mask. And all I could think was, you don't even know your sentence has already been written. Saturday morning, her phone buzzed across the table. She was in the shower. I was making coffee. The screen lit up. LOL, he's still on the couch? Face with tears of joy. No name. Just a number. I picked it up. The message preview didn't disappear. Another one came in. You're savage. When are you telling him? My stomach didn't drop. My heart didn't race. I just stared at it calmly, like I was reading the weather. I set the phone down exactly as I found it. Later, while she blow-dried her hair, I opened my laptop. Used her old iCloud login. She hadn't changed the password. Inside was a synced message thread with the same number. But it wasn't one-on-one. It was a group chat. 4 names, Lisa, Emma, Carly, and her. They were talking about me. In real time. Like I was a sitcom. Carly. At this point he's volunteering for Cuckold of the Year. Lisa. I still don't get how he hasn't snapped. You sure he's not faking it? Emma. Girl. You got the house, the side dish, and the groceries. Living the dream. And her my wife. He's too soft. Always has been. I give it a week and he'll probably offer to help us move his stuff out. I didn't react. I scrolled. Watched them joke. Saw emojis and memes. They called him Jim Guy. Apparently, they'd all met him once. At a barbecue. While I was at work. One of them even complimented her. You played it perfectly. Let him rot while the bed stays warm. That one stuck. Let him rot. That's what she thought she was doing. Letting me decay in plain sight. That night I cooked dinner. Set the table. Lit candles. Made her favorite, lemon garlic salmon. She smiled the whole time. Kissed my cheek. Said, see? This is what we needed. I agreed. Told her I felt better lately. More centered. Said I was thinking about taking a short trip. To clear my head. Her eyes lit up. You should, she said. Some time alone might help. Then she leaned in and whispered, I'll be here when you're ready to come home. I smiled back. And in my head I marked the date. Monday. 9 a.m. The trap was almost ready. Sunday felt like a funeral. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just slow. Like every room in the house was holding its breath. She spent the day cleaning. Vacuuming. Doing laundry. Said it helped her relax. I watched her fold our sheets, the same ones he'd slept on. She hummed to herself. The camera in the bedroom caught her changing the pillowcases. She even sprayed the bed with linen mist. Lavender. I noted the time, 3:24 p.m. No sign of him today. Maybe she told him to stay away until I left for my trip. That night she wore a silk robe. No bra. Poured herself a glass of wine. Sat across from me on the couch like we were on a date. You've been different, she said, watching me. I smiled. In a good way? She nodded. You're calm. Almost like before. Before what? Before she turned our bedroom into a revolving door? Before she made my life a game in a group chat? Before I stopped being a person and became a placeholder? I wanted to ask. But I didn't. Because tomorrow was almost here. She touched my knee gently. Said, "I'm glad you're still here." I looked her in the eye. Said, "I am too." We went to bed at the same time. She in our room. Me on the couch. One last night. At 2:12 a.m., the hallway light turned on. I saw her silhouette move past, barefoot, toward the front door. I heard the lock click. No knock. No hesitation. He walked in like always. But quieter this time. Like they were afraid to wake the ghost on the couch. They didn't know I was already wide awake. Already dressed. Already waiting. From my spot, I saw them disappear into the bedroom. Door shut. Lock turned. 10 minutes later, I pulled out the small folder from my backpack. Inside, a copy of the footage. Screenshots from the group chat. Legal documents from Marcus. And a printed letter addressed to her and him. I slid it under the bedroom door. Then I sat back down, crossed my legs, and waited. The first sound came at 2:41 a.m. A sharp gasp. A voice, his. Then silence. Then footsteps. Fast. Angry. Stomping. The door flung open. He came out first. Shirtless. Holding the folder. His face pale. Jaw clenched. She followed, eyes wide. Lips parted. Mouth dry. "You planned this," she said. I nodded once. "You psychopath," he snapped. "No," I said. "I'm just the guy whose name is still on the mortgage." And then I stood up. Tomorrow, the real show would begin. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't need to. At 7 a.m., I made coffee. Drank it slow. Black. No sugar. She stayed in the bedroom. He was gone by then, slammed the door on his way out, muttering something under his breath about getting a lawyer. Good. Let him. At 8:15 she emerged. Eyes swollen. Hoodie zipped to her chin. Hair pulled back too tight. She didn't speak. I handed her a small stack of papers, neat, clipped, prepared. "What's this?" she asked, voice brittle. "Notice of legal separation. Property reassignment. Cease and desist for unauthorized entry." She flipped through the pages, hands shaking. "You're divorcing me?" "No. I already filed. Today's the day I tell you." She blinked. "You're serious?" As serious as he was when he used my toothbrush. I saw it hit her. The realization. That this wasn't temporary. That this wasn't a threat. This was done. Her mouth opened like she wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Instead, she dropped the papers on the counter. "We can talk about this." "No," I said. "You talked. In the group chat. Remember?" Her face strained. She knew. She didn't even try to deny it. "I was hurt," she whispered. "I was confused." "You were coordinated," I replied. "That's different." She sat down on the stool by the kitchen island. The same one she used when she texted him at night. "You don't have to humiliate me. I'm not. I'm giving you a quiet exit. You should thank me." At 8:59, there was a knock on the door. 2 men in suits. Marcus sent them. His assistants. Calm, professional. They handed her a folder, notarized copies, list of asset transfers. Her voice cracked. "You're throwing me out?" "No," I said. "You're leaving." Same difference. She didn't move. One of the men looked at me. I nodded. "Ma'am," he said gently, "we recommend you gather your essentials now. We'll arrange for the rest later through counsel." She stood slowly, like her body had betrayed her. She walked back into the bedroom, our bedroom, and closed the door. 10 minutes passed. I didn't follow. She came out with one suitcase and a duffel bag. Didn't look at me as she passed. Didn't say goodbye. When the door closed behind her, the house didn't feel lighter. It felt silent. Final. And the couch, for the first time in weeks, looked like mine again. The first thing I did was strip the bed. Every sheet, pillowcase, and blanket, into a trash bag. The mattress cover too. Gone. I opened the windows wide. Let the cold air bite through the room. She left her perfume bottle on the dresser. I dropped it in the sink and turned on the garbage disposal. The sound it made was sharp, almost metallic. I didn't flinch. By noon, the cleaning crew arrived. I'd scheduled them 2 days earlier, deep sanitation, full scrub, bedroom to garage. They didn't ask questions. While they worked, I opened a second folder Marcus had prepared. Inside, instructions to freeze the joint account. Redirected mail. Change of insurance beneficiaries. All in motion. All approved. The law moved faster when you were prepared. I spent the afternoon in silence, deleting photos from my phone. Every picture with her smile. Every vacation shot. Every saved voicemail. Gone. At 4 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it ring out. It buzzed again. Then a message came in. Please. Can we just talk? No name. No context. I typed back 2 words. Through counsel. I didn't hear from her again that night. But someone else reached out. Emma, one of her group chat friends. The message read, Hey. I didn't know it was that serious. I'm sorry. If you ever need to talk. I blocked the number. They weren't sorry. They were bored. They wanted a news story to follow. They'd already moved on to their next victim, their next thread. Later that evening, I poured myself a drink. Sat at the kitchen island, the one where she used to balance her wine glass while texting him, and stared at the empty space across from me. It didn't ache. It didn't burn. It simply stopped being hers. And I realized, revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it sits quietly across from an empty chair and breathes. That night, I slept in the bed again. Alone. Clean sheets. Window cracked. The silence was heavy. But it was mine. No creaking floors. No shadows behind the curtains. No lies breathing beside me. Just the ticking of the clock. And a man who was finally irrevocably done. Tuesday morning, Marcus called. Clean separation so far, he said. But her lawyer's trying to contest the property split. Claims emotional coercion. I laughed once, sharp and short. She brought a man into my house. I said. Used my bed. Called me soft in a group chat. I know, Marcus replied. But court isn't about fairness. It's about what can be proven. That's why I have an idea. I listened as he laid it out, the timing, the documents, the guests. A single dinner. Not to reconcile. To reveal. To corner. By noon, the plan was in motion. I texted her. I'd like to invite you to dinner. One last time. No drama. No yelling. Just closure. She replied within 10 minutes. You're serious? Yes. 7 p.m. Thursday. I'll cook. The hook was set. Next, I contacted her parents. Told them I wanted to apologize. Said I owed it to them to explain everything in person. They agreed. Her mother sounded emotional. She always liked me more than she liked her own daughter. I added 2 more seats, one for Marcus, one for a mutual friend of ours, someone we both trusted, someone neutral. A witness. Thursday would be the stage. Until then, I kept the house quiet. No music. No distractions. I organized papers into a clean white folder. The footage. The chat screenshots. Statements from the cleaning crew confirming the second toothbrush, the men's razor. A notarized list of every item I purchased for that bedroom in the past 6 months. All of it labeled. Indexed. No shouting. No screaming. Only proof. On Wednesday, she texted again. Should I bring anything? I answered. No. Everything you need will be on the table. I set the table for 6. 2 candles unlit. Clean plates. Silverware aligned like a diagram. The folder sat at the center, closed, untouched. At 6:45 p.m., her parents arrived first. Her mother hugged me tightly. Her father nodded, not warm, but not hostile. Just stiff. They asked about her. I said she'd be here soon. Marcus arrived next. Suit, tie, calm eyes. He shook hands, said nothing unnecessary. Then came Chris, the mutual friend. We used to watch football together every Sunday before she stopped letting people over. He looked around the house like he was searching for ghosts. At 7:03 p.m., she walked in. Hair done. Soft makeup. Wearing a dress she used to save for date nights. Wow, she said, glancing at the table. Formal. She hugged her mother. Kissed her dad's cheek. Nodded at Chris. Avoided Marcus entirely. Then she looked at me. You look nice, she said. I nodded once. You're late. She blinked. A flicker of tension passed across her face. Dinner was simple: roast chicken, potatoes, salad, wine. We ate slowly. Talk was light. Her mother said the food reminded her of our first Thanksgiving together. She smiled at that. Looked at me like we were still pretending. Then came the silence. I pushed the wine glass aside. Rested my fingers on the folder. I invited you all here, I said, because there are things I need to show you. And I don't want there to be any doubt about what happened. She stiffened. Eyes on the folder. Her father looked confused. Son, what is this? Marcus leaned forward slightly, but said nothing. I opened the folder. Slid out the first page. A still frame, her in bed with him. Time-stamped. High resolution. No faces needed. Her mother gasped. She reached forward, tried to grab it, but I calmly flipped to the next page. Screenshots from the group chat. The laughing emojis. The nicknames. Chris leaned back slowly, eyes wide. Her father looked at her. You told us you were working things out, he said, voice low. She started, then stopped. I didn't interrupt. I let the silence cut her. Then I said clearly, he used my bed. You mocked me with your friends. You invited a man into this house while I was sleeping 10 feet away. And you thought I wouldn't notice. Her eyes filled, but no tears fell. I passed the folder to her father. Then to her mother. Then to Marcus. Then to Chris. Nobody spoke for nearly a minute. She finally looked at me. You planned this whole thing, she said, voice shaking. No, I said. You did. I just gave it an audience. The air around the table turned dense. Her mother stared at the folder, hand covering her mouth. Her father sat rigid, as if the chair beneath him had vanished. Chris looked anywhere but at her. She broke first. I didn't mean for it to go that far, she said. It was a mistake. I was lonely. You were always distant. I didn't flinch. Marcus cleared his throat. You're not under obligation to speak, but anything you say can be referenced during formal proceedings. Her head snapped toward him. Are you serious? Very. She turned to me. You set me up. You wanted to humiliate me. No, I said. I wanted witnesses. Her mother spoke then. Quiet, but sharp. You had someone in the house? The silence answered for her. She reached for her daughter's arm. You let a stranger sleep here while your husband was in the next room? I didn't think. She started. No, I said. You did. You thought a lot. You planned it. You coordinated it. I pushed another paper across the table, a signed delivery confirmation for the hidden camera. Weeks before the first confrontation. Her eyes darted across the page. She recognized the date. That was the day she told me to sleep on the couch. It wasn't supposed to feel real, she said quietly. I was just tired of pretending. Chris finally spoke. So you made a show instead? She opened her mouth, closed it, then looked down. I leaned back. You told him I was soft. I said. You told your friends I'd never leave. That I'd help pack my own things. That I was pathetic. I didn't mean it. She whispered. You wrote it. Marcus slid the final document across the table, an updated property reassignment. Her name removed from the title. Her share frozen pending legal review. She stared at it like it was a death certificate. What am I supposed to do? She asked no one in particular. Her father stood up. Quietly. Carefully. Then her mother. She didn't even say goodbye. Chris followed them out, one hand on her father's shoulder. That left only me, her, and Marcus. She sat pale, smaller than I'd ever seen her. You ruined my life, she said. No, I said. You handed me the matches. I just lit what you soaked in gasoline. Marcus stood. We'll be in touch. She didn't move. She looked around the house like it belonged to someone else. Because now it did. She didn't leave that night. Not because she asked to stay, she didn't. But because she sat frozen at the table long after the door had closed behind the others. Marcus and I stood in the hallway. He asked if I wanted her out immediately. I said no. Let her sit with it. I wanted her to feel every second of that silence. Eventually, I went to bed. Locked the door. Not because I was afraid, but because she no longer had access to me. Physically. Emotionally. Legally. That door might as well have been steel. In the morning, I found her in the kitchen. Same hoodie. Hair matted from sleep. She was eating the leftover chicken from the dinner I made. No plate. Just standing at the counter with her fingers, picking pieces off the bone. She looked up when I entered. But said nothing. Neither did I. I poured coffee. Sat across the island. She finally broke. Are you really going to let me walk away with nothing? I sipped once. You walked away months ago. She shook her head. You think this makes you strong? I leaned in just slightly. No. This makes me free. A beat passed. Then another. I should have told you. She said. About him. About everything. I was angry. And he made me feel like I mattered. I nodded slowly. And now? She hesitated. Now I feel like I don't exist. I stood up. You don't. Not here. Before leaving for work, I left the second folder on the counter. Inside, a schedule. Move-out date. Storage arrangements. A contact for her to coordinate retrieval of personal items, supervised, recorded, documented. No room for games. By 3 p.m., her lawyer called Marcus. She was cooperating. And the silence in the house felt cleaner than it had in months. That night, I sat outside on the back steps with a beer in my hand. The air smelled like rain, even though the sky was clear. And for the first time since the couch, I didn't hear creaking floorboards. No fake laughter. No whispering through walls. Just the hum of the neighborhood. I checked my phone. No messages. No missed calls. No more pretending. I deleted her number. Then the chat thread. Then every photo. Every voice memo. Gone. Like she'd never lived here. Only difference was, now, she knew it too. She moved out on a Thursday. I watched from the upstairs window as a rented van pulled into the driveway. 2 men stepped out, movers hired by her lawyer. She didn't drive. Didn't even ride with them. She showed up separately, 20 minutes late. She wore sunglasses, even though the sky was overcast. A hood over her head. Like she didn't want the house to recognize her. I didn't go downstairs. I left everything labeled clothes, shoes, photo albums, boxed, sealed, ready. But I didn't leave the things she expected. I kept the ring. The watch I gave her for our 5th anniversary. The necklace she wore the first time she said, "I love you." She didn't ask for them. She walked through the house slowly, like she was touching it goodbye. But the house didn't respond. Even the walls were done with her. The movers worked in silence. room by room. No small talk. At one point, she stopped at the couch. Her hand grazed the armrest, that old leather dip she'd forced me onto night after night. She sat for a moment. Just one breath. Then stood. By 3:12 p.m., the van was full. By 3:15, the door closed behind her. She didn't knock. Didn't speak. Didn't leave a note. But she made one mistake. She left her second phone in the nightstand drawer. I found it while vacuuming the bedroom. It was cheap. Burnt orange case. Cracked screen. The passcode was her birth year, repeated twice. I didn't scroll far. I didn't need to. Just enough to see that the affair started long before she pushed me to the couch. Months. He wasn't a stranger she met in grief. He was an exit strategy. They joked about it. Operation Freedom. Give it 6 months and I'll have the house too. I sent screenshots to Marcus. Not for court. Not for leverage. For the record. So that when I finally erased her completely, I'd know I wasn't erasing something real. I tossed the phone in the sink. Turned on the garbage disposal. Watched the screen shatter under pressure, one final time. No sparks. No drama. Just a clean, mechanical end. The house settled like a lung exhaling for the first time. I opened every window. Pulled up the bedroom blinds. Let the afternoon light spill across the floor, sharp and honest. No more closed doors. No shadows behind curtains. No whispers bleeding through the drywall. She was gone. For good. I started with the small things. Her books, the ones she never finished, stacked for display. Boxed and donated. The fake plants she said made the house feel fresh. Tossed. Even her magnets on the fridge. Paris, Austin, New York, little souvenirs from trips I never joined. I peeled them off one by one and dropped them in a drawer I planned never to open again. Upstairs, the bedroom looked different now. No more lavender spray. No dent on the left pillow. No noise at 3 a.m. I replaced the sheets. Not new. Just different. Dark gray. Clean lines. No memory in the fibers. I kept the clock with the hidden lens. Not for protection. As a reminder. At 7:48 p.m., my doorbell rang. I checked the feed. It was her. Alone. No car in sight. Hootie again. Same cracked lips she always bit when she was nervous. I didn't open the door. She stood there for a full minute. Then pulled out her phone and typed something. A buzz on mine. Please. Just one more conversation. I deleted the message. She rang again. I walked to the kitchen, grabbed the last copy of the folder Marcus made, and slid it into a manila envelope. I opened the door just enough to pass it through the gap. Her eyes flicked down to it, then up at me. Is this all I am to you now? She asked. No, I said. This is all that's left of what you were. She didn't cry. Didn't scream. She just took the envelope. Do they know? She asked. Your friends. Your family. About me. I held her gaze. They know enough. She stepped back. One slow movement. Like she still thought I'd call her name. But I didn't. She walked down the steps, envelope under her arm. I closed the door. Not fast. Not hard. Just, finally. Monday came like any other Monday. Except there was no toothbrush in the holder that wasn't mine. No scent of her perfume. No second coffee cup rinsed and left in the drying rack. Silence had become structure. Not emptiness, space. Marcus called at noon. It's done, he said. Separation finalized. She forfeited all claims. No court, no fight. I exhaled. Not relief. Something flatter. Confirmation. She asked for anything? I said. A car. The one you gave her. You signed that over already. I don't want it back. Marcus paused. You're in the clear. Property's yours. House is yours. She waved spousal support. There's nothing left to contest. Good. He added one more thing. She asked me to tell you she's sorry. I said nothing. We ended the call. I checked the account balances. All clean. Mortgage transferred. Utilities routed. Joint account closed. I even changed the alarm code. Everything she once had access to, removed, overwritten, secured. By 3 p.m., I was walking through the house like it was new. Not because it was different. Because I was. In the guest room closet, I found one last thing, a shoebox tucked behind an old suitcase. Inside, photos. Printed ones. Us at the lake. Us at her sister's wedding. Us on the couch, smiling. My arm around her, not knowing. I didn't tear them up. I didn't burn them. I put the lid back on. Wrapped tape around the box. Wrote one word on top. Before. Then I locked it in the garage cabinet. Not to revisit. To file away. That night I made dinner. For one. Set a single plate. One fork. One glass. Sat at the table she used to control like a stage. No audience now. No actress across from me. And yet, for the first time in months, everything felt real. I slept in the center of the bed. Stretched out. No noise at 3 a.m. No footsteps in the hallway. No second toothbrush in the dark. Just breath. And the slow, certain knowledge that the house had healed faster than I thought possible. Weeks passed. Not all at once, but slow, like a drip. I stopped checking the driveway. Stopped expecting the black Honda. Stopped wondering what her name sounded like when someone else whispered it in the dark. The neighbors asked where she went. I told them the truth. She doesn't live here anymore. They didn't press. I donated her coats. The ones she left behind without realizing. I planted rosemary by the porch, something she always said she'd do but never did. And every morning now, I open the blinds without thinking. Let the light in without bracing for shadows. The couch, that damned couch, is gone. Sold it for $20 to a college kid with too much optimism and not enough spine. I hope he doesn't sleep on it for the wrong reasons. The space it left behind feels like breath. Like something unclenched. Her last message came 2 weeks ago. No apology. No excuses. Just, I miss the version of us that laughed. I didn't reply. Because she didn't miss me. She missed the stage. The control. The version where I didn't see. I'm not angry anymore. I don't fantasize about revenge or regret. I don't run through what I should have said, or what I should have broken. Because I didn't break. I bent. I bent until I could see around corners. Until I could watch, silently, while the people who thought they owned me handed me the tools to undo them. And now I'm here. Alive. Alone. Whole. She thought I was soft. Thought I'd collapse. But I didn't collapse. I recalculated. I rebuilt. And now she lives in the ashes of a house she set on fire, thinking I'd be the one to burn. But I never burned. I let it burn around me. Then I walked out, untouched. And locked the door behind me.